Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I thought I would do the February wrap up and put it out relatively on time, or at least not 2 weeks into the month like I did last month. Um, I thought February was quite a bad reading month. And then I was going through my story graph, writing down the titles of everything I read this month, and turns out February was a really good reading month. I think because I there's a bit more audio this month than normal. So I physically read less pages, but I still consumed more books. I actually consumed 7 books this month, which is pretty good going because last year I think I was averaging about 5 books a month, so I'm kind of blown away. So let's just get into this. What did I finish in February? If I play with my hair, I just got it cut this evening, so bear with. I'm getting used to it again. But yeah, what did I finish in February? So I finished Court of War and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas, which is the third book in the ACOTAR series, and I continued to love it. I then immediately went on to a court of Frost and Starlight. I think I really enjoyed. I preferred a Court of Frost and Starlight because I think by that point it was just such a nice little interlude. It was almost like a little slice of life, sort of like there's not too much drama, but there's a certain amount of drama, and I like the sort of like the lead in to A Court of Silver Flames. That it was all still from Farah's point of view, but within that book we started getting there was multiple POVs instead of just Farah's, which at first threw me a little bit, but it was actually like having started Court of Silver Flames, I just thought that was really cleverly done, and it was just such a nice. It was so short that it was almost like a really nice palate cleanser. Yeah, I didn't immediately move into it, but since we're just finishing up this little Sarah J. Maas section, I did also finish A Court of Silver Flames. I think A Court of Silver Flames is going to be my favorite one in this series. I wasn't sure if it was going to be the last one or not, just because I've not really heard much about the series continuing. I think because everyone's talking about Crescent City right now. But the way that ended, I'm like, yeah, this is not the last book in that series. It better not be the last book in that series, otherwise I'm going from very satisfied to very not satisfied. But yeah, I genuinely, I think this might be my favorite book. I love, I love Nesta, and just Nesta and Cassian together. I absolutely adored it. Watching how Nesta bloomed, blossomed, both with Cassian and the training and all the interactions she had with the priestesses, and particularly with Grin and Emery. I absolutely adored it. I thought it was brilliant. There was some excellent character development there that just, and yeah, it was brilliant. I think this is probably the only book where I would say that it's earned its reputation as fairy smut. I mean, it wasn't like full blown fairy smut, but it was definitely smuttier than the previous books, which I felt have lent more towards fluffy than smutty, but yeah. Yeah, so all in all, I've really enjoyed the series, and I guess now I'm stuck waiting for the next one. Yeah. I did start doing a spoiler vlog for A Court of Silver Flames, and then I just kept reading it and forgot to vlog. Yeah, I'm not very good at vlogging actually. I know I've done a few of them, but yeah, it turns out I'm not very good at it, and I'd rather just talk about a book at the end. Um, I'm currently debating whether or not to do a series review. I don't know. I'll see how I feel in a few days or so, but hmm, I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure I would do individual book reviews, especially because it's now I've read 5 of them over the space of 2 months. But yeah, I might do a series review. Leave it with me. But yeah, what else did I finish? Because I read more than just Sarah J. Maas. um, so I had a few weeks. I've now had sort of like 2 weeks at work where the lab I'm I would normally share it with like 3 or 4 other people, but sort of like part of our one department within work, and we've sort of like temporarily like stopped, and we're sending all the samples down to our Edinburgh lab just so another department can get some extra support. It's all craziness right now, and we've got massive training going on. But basically, this ramble means what I'm trying to say is that I've had one room, one lab, all to myself. And when you put Amy in a room on her own for any significant length of time, she's going to put a book on. None of this radio rubbish. Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy listening to the radio. I do enjoy some background music. But if I don't have to, I'm gonna put a book on. So I've listened to some books in work, which is just such a anomaly for me. I've really enjoyed it. So the first one I listened to was Scythe by Neil Shusterman, I think. And oh, that was interesting. I have downloaded the second one because I'm really curious to see where this goes. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. Scythe is basically a YA dystopian where humanity have completely conquered death. There's no disease. We've conquered disease. We've conquered age. There's no accidents. Basically, the internet and an artificial intelligence has kind of taken over, and it's not scary. It's kind of like a benevolent overseer. So yeah, basically there's no threat to humanity. People just don't die. And the only real threat to the planet at this point is overpopulation. So in order to control that, there are scythes, which are a few specifically chosen individuals whose job it is to basically kill a bunch of people each year. They all do it in different ways. But it's an interesting look at morality and the morality of death. And I guess to an extent the morality of interfering with nature. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The characters, it's hard to say if I related to the characters because they're so very different and they've been brought up in such a very different place, but I did enjoy watching them grow as characters and sort of like experiencing and sort of like trying to figure out and waiting for like how are they going to overcome this, what are they going to do. I can't remember what I rated it. It wasn't a 5-star read, but it was definitely interesting. It was also interesting having my boss walk past every so often and having my book just talk about randomly killing people. I think he kind of just expects that of me now. Or well, it's not that he expects death from me, but he expects if I'm listening to something it's going to be a bit weird. He doesn't really understand like fantasy sci-fi. It's really not his thing. And so he just accepts that I'm a little bit weird. Yeah. The next thing I listened to, because I realised at times I was struggling a little bit with just keeping track of the story. So I realised that if I'm going to listen to something in work, I want to listen to something familiar. So for the third time, since it was released less than a year ago, I listened to Project Hail Mary. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Project Hail Mary was my top book of 2021, and I haven't decided whether rereads count towards top reads. They're not going to count towards my monthly top read, but whether my yearly top read, maybe? I mean, it could be it again. I mean, I don't really need to say much about Project Hail Mary. If you've read it, you know exactly why I love it, and if you haven't read it, go read it. You will love it. That is all. What else did I read? Spoken about you three. Oh yeah, I was down in Perth at the weekend, and whilst driving there, I finished listening to In the Labyrinth of Drakes. I actually have the physical book. I've owned this for a while now. I bought the first 4 books physically because I read the first 2 physically, and I realised I actually really enjoyed listening to them. And it was, certain things happened in this book that I really wanted to happen. I did not expect them to happen the way they did. but it made me happy that they did. If you have read any Marie Brennan, you know she's just such a lovely read. The main character, Lady Trent, um, Isabella, is just she's just fabulous. She is a kick-ass heroine. She knows what she wants. She will not hold back, and she can be a little bit snarky, but at the same time, she's so intelligent. She's witty. It's absolutely brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. In the Labyrinth of Drake is the fourth book, so I won't say too much because spoilers. But yeah, I think I've said before, I highly recommend A Natural History of Dragons, which is the first one. And if you haven't fallen in love with it and that, then I don't get you. No kidding. It's probably not for everybody, but it's just such good books. And yeah, what else did I read? Okay, so the last one that I read was one I picked up on a whim. Sorry, excuse me, I'm very sniffly. I'm LFT tests every day right now. I picked it up on a whim. I expected to like it. I did not expect to love it. I think I've loved pretty much everything I've consumed this month, which is great. I didn't expect to fall in love with this book or to consume it as quickly. I read it in 2 sittings. And that, excuse me, is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is, I'm not going to say too much because as soon as I finish wrapping up this video, I am going to film a review on this. But yeah, needless to say, I loved this. It is a fake dating trope romance set in academia. Apparently, it is Reylo fanfic. Now, I've nothing against fanfic. I read an obscene amount myself. Not any Star Wars fanfic. I think Reylo Star Wars. Please don't come after me. I've watched the latest Star Wars films when they came out a long time ago. But yeah, obviously I don't read their fanfic. But it didn't read like fanfic. I mean, it didn't feel like they felt like their own characters. But yeah, needless to say, I love this book. And I'll talk to you more about that later on. But yeah, that is everything I finished. I've started 3 books. So the current audio, I've started 4 books. So yeah, I started In the Sanctuary of Wings, which is the 5th Lady Trent book. I'm just continuing on with that because I'm really, really enjoying this series. I've started listening to Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb, which is technically a reread. I've never listened to it before, and the narrator, sometimes I'm like, yeah, she's doing really well, and oh my god, she just pulled a voice out. What voice is that? So I have to give her kudos. She is giving every character a different voice. But yeah, what I'm going to say about, I can't remember who the narrator is, but what I'll say is she's a very good narrator. She's a terrible voice actor. But yeah, I'm going to bear with because The Live Ship Traders, for which Ship of Magic is book 1, is my favourite Robin Hobb trilogy. Some of my favourite characters are in this trilogy. I'd forgotten how annoying they all were to begin with. So I'm hoping, I know they'll get better soon. But yeah, that's what I'm currently listening to in work. I say I started. I continued with Way of Kings. I'm not massively further into it than I was this time last month. But Brandon Sanderson released a video where he came clean about something. If you're a Brandon Sanderson fan and you've seen that video, you know what I'm talking about. If you are a Brandon Sanderson fan and you have not seen that video, go check out his YouTube page. He specifically asked that we do not spoil what's on that page, but chances are by the time I release this, you already know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to decide whether to back something. Yeah, but either way, I got inspired to pick Way of Kings up again as a result. I'm enjoying it, but I'm still finding it very easy to put down. I'm hoping... So this is Way of Kings Part 1, and I've got Way of Kings Part 2 out from the library. And I'm hoping that by the time I get to the end of this one, I will just want to immediately go into Way of Kings Part 2. If not, I might just pause there for a little while and go back to it when I'm more in the mood. I'm not sure I'm in a proper epic fantasy mood right now. But we'll see how it gets on. Yeah, the last one I started... Excuse me, I'm very sniffly right now. The last one I started is called The Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, or also known as Modao Zushi, by this author. I'm not even going to pretend to try and pronounce that because I will butcher it terribly. This... I bought this. So I bought this using birthday money in January from a friend. I then watched the live action of this, which is called The Untamed, which you can watch on Netflix, which is a Chinese live action. And I absolutely loved it. If you want to watch it, it is a little bit of a commitment. It's 50 episodes. It's not short. But it's freaking amazing. Half the time you're watching it going, what the hell am I watching? Why am I obsessed with this? Because it's so ridiculous, but you're going to love it anyway. It's basically a boy love drama about... I'm going to read you the back of the book because it will describe it better than I can without gushing. So, Resurrection and Revenge. Wei Wuxian was once one of the most outstanding men of his generation, a talented and clever young cultivator who harnessed martial arts, knowledge and spirituality into powerful abilities. But when the horrors of war led him to seek a new power through demonic cultivation, the world's respect for his skills turned to fear, and his eventual death was celebrated throughout the land. Years later, he awakens in the body of a grieved young man who sacrifices his soul so that Wei Wuxian can exact revenge on his behalf. Though granted a second life, Wei Wuxian is not free from his first, nor the mysteries that appear before him now. Yet this time he'll face it all with the righteous and esteemed Lang Ranji at his side, another powerful cultivator whose unwavering dedication and shared memories of their past will help shine a light on the truths that surround them. So the novel goes, and the film, and the live action rather, and the animated, which I'm also now watching because I'm utterly obsessed and will consume this piece of media in every form possible. But yeah, it jumps back and forth between present day when Wei has been resurrected and is now trying to figure out what's going on, how to take revenge on who he needs to, and in the past, so you see all of the events that lead up to him, I don't want to say turning to the dark side, but practicing the dark tricks and the dark arts, essentially. And it's just... At times it's serious, at times it's really silly. And they're adorable. It's adorable. But yeah, that is, in a nutshell, in a slightly long nutshell, what I've read this month and what I'm currently reading. Do I have any plans for the upcoming month reading wise? I'm looking over here because that's where all the books I've gotten from the library are. But I'm going to read Winnie the Pooh. There's a classics read along going on in Barb's Booklands in her Discord. And for March, Winnie the Pooh was picked. So yeah, I actually haven't read Winnie the Pooh before. So I feel it's time to remedy that. And obviously it's not going to be the most difficult read in the world, so I've got it there for when I just need something nice and light and fluffy. And yeah, other than continuing with Way of Kings, that's all my plans. So I was going to briefly chat to you about my stats, my that Storygraph gave us, but there was nothing really interesting there this month. My mood is apparently very adventurous. Um, that pretty much like you get your little pie chart on Storygraph, and this was a whole half a pie. Everything else was pretty even. And my genres were fantasy and romance. And when a little over half of what I read was fantasy romance, it's not that surprising. They were, yeah, my stats were pretty much as I would expect them to be. Um, yeah, so all that's left to do is wrap up with my book of the month. I struggled a little bit between, I'm not gonna lie, it comes between In the Labyrinth of Drakes and The Love Hypothesis. And I kind of hummed and hid a little bit. Love Hypothesis has come in a very, very close second. I loved it so much more than I thought I was going to. I absolutely adore it. However, In the Labyrinth of Drakes, it gave me scenes that I needed and that I wanted, and it was just brilliant. And I honestly, this has one of my favorite friendships and one of my favorite relationships, and it's brilliant and I adore it. So yeah, book of the month, In the Labyrinth of Drakes. It's so good. Oh, so shall we end this video here? Let me know in the comments what you've been up to, what you've been reading. Do you have a favorite book this month? And I will see you in the next video. Bye.